I shall stare into your soul. Ooh, ooh. Hey guys, it's Jaxler, and welcome back to the Fantasia server. This is episode 3, and as you can see, I kind of got this little wolf pal. He just kind of appeared all of a sudden, and he's just kind of been sitting here. Well, I kind of moved him, so yeah, he's here now. So he'll be our little buddy. So today I want to do two things. One, I want to show you some of the improvements I've made to my base because I've done a lot off camera. And the second is I want to work on another part of our factory downstairs, which I'm not sure if I've quite talked about that much, but I will in the latter part of this episode. If you want to skip to the factory building part and you feel like you don't want to see the base over some parts of the base over again, you can just hit the little annotation in the top left corner, top left corner of this video, and it'll take you straight there. So let's see if I can. Oh, there we go. I've been having trouble getting up that lately, so good thing that I was able to get up. So the first thing you'll notice if you come downstairs is that I finished the ceiling. Thank the heavenly Lord, that took forever. It took forever and a day to finally finish that because I actually didn't buy any of the wool at like a shop to make any of this. Same thing goes for the dye too. So it took forever to get all the wool that I needed to make this. So as you can see, I got kind of some clouds in here. I got just a blue sky. It's kind of simple, but I really like how it looks with the sort of green design we got going on the wall, and it kind of matches the sort of dull gray we got going on the floor. We have a small little rising sun over here. These little pockets we sort of have, it kind of looks ugly with that cloud over there. But there used to be stairs right here so you could get on top, but I removed those, and you'll see why in just a second. Let me just eat real quick. Nom. And as you can see right here, we got some villagers. I was able to find some zombie villagers, and I was able to carry. Oh, 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 oh! I think I think I hit the left click on my touchpad. So okay, he's gonna die. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so I was able to get two villagers, and both of them are pretty spectacular. Oh, this one right here, he's got 7 emeralds for an Eye of Ender, which is pretty sweet. I got one of those already, and you'll see why in just a sec. Emerald for bottle enchanting, which isn't that good, and you'll see again why in just a sec. And then the best one here is an emerald for 2 glowstone, which is really kind of convenient. And then so right here is the second villager. All I needed to get emeralds was a written book, so that was pretty easy, and I already kind of maxed out that trade. I also maxed out this trade, so I just bought some books so I can get some cheaper emeralds. And then this guy gets me some bookshelves for emeralds, which isn't really that good, so I don't really have a good way of getting emeralds anymore because I kind of ran out. So I'm probably going to need to max out that trade too, so I can get more trades on this. I think he's a librarian, so yeah, so that's kind of the gist of that. I also updated this room a little bit, and I added some cool logs in the corner and just this kind of cool tile design with the wood, so that's just kind of an improvement. I haven't quite worked on some of the other rooms, which is probably something I'll do off camera, but that's kind of what I've got going on right now. On some of these rooms I have gates, and the reason I took off the stairs is because I didn't want the villagers getting mixed up in the different ends. Like for example, you can see this just random sheep over here that kind of snuck its way inside. So that's just another little thing I just wanted to bring up real quick. So down here in the basement, I didn't really change all that much. I did add a lot of some of these lapis blocks instead of that regular just stone line that I had. I kind of wanted to keep it dull, like because I like the pastel color of this lapis lazuli block, but at the same time I didn't want to over brighten the room because that wouldn't really work with the stone bricks here. So that's just kind of all I did there. I also have, I don't know if I showed this on camera, but I have this cool little ceiling up here. So I've got these 4 glowstone like tiles and all this cool woodwork. So the only thing that sucks is these weird corner lighting glitches, but I can't really fix that. So I'm just gonna leave that as it is. Um, I feel like it always taunts me when it does that. So I'm just gonna go. I'm not sure if I showed this either. So I think I have an axe in here. Lag, please. Okay. And under here I have the minecart system that I'm using to get this whole system running. And when I leave this chunk, it kind of screws up. So that torch right there is gonna release it. And so what it does is, so the minecart picks up the eggs from the egg machine, I guess you could call it. Picks them up. It's already like completely full because I've left it running for Oh, maybe it's not working anymore. Interesting. Oh, that would explain everything. What's going on with this? This was working earlier. Oh, this changes everything. Is it just not going fast enough, you think? I'm not sure anymore. I think I'll take care of that off camera. I have no idea what I need to do to fix that. So that's just kind of the system that's, thing that I built myself in. So that's kind of the system that's going on back here. And then I'll just block this up again so it's just kind of flush. And back here is where the upward rail leads to. This, I have a hopper up here that collects all of the eggs, and after a little bit delay, it'll stop it, and then it will send it back on its way. So the gravity will take that. You don't really need a block there. So that's kind of how that system works. So I'm not quite sure I showed that necessarily on camera last episode. So I just wanted to briefly show that off. So as you can see over here, there's another room over here, and that's what we're going to be doing in the latter part of this episode. Again, there will be an annotation in the top left corner of the video if you want to go check that out. So that's about all I've done in the main... Ooh, Davrez has been killed for combat logging. So that's about all I've done in the main base so far. Another thing I want to point out is I have been enchanting up a storm. I have been making all these crazy enchanted books, trying to get, like, super overpowered armor, and maybe in the next couple of episodes you'll be able to figure out why. I'm not going to spoil it quite yet, because it'll be pretty interesting. So, yeah, that's kind of all I've got going on in the main base, except for just a couple of extra skulls I picked up along the way. Again, it's been such a long time since I've recorded an episode, and I need to armor up and eat, because you'll see why in a second. Oh, he just got wrecked. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to head to the next part, which I'm extremely proud about. The reason why I've been able to do all these enchants is because I was able to create a mob grinder off of a skeleton spawner I found. I haven't connected it to my main base yet. I'll probably do that again off camera. I kind of like doing things off camera because no one like... Oh, there goes my sword. I kind of like doing stuff like that off camera because I know nobody wants to see that. Oh, yep. Oh, okay, okay. There, no. Please, please. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I've been kind of having a little bit of server lag today. I don't know exactly why. Am I... Oh yeah, that's right. My brothers and I are downloading Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, which is gonna be sick. So, yeah, I've been playing Smash Bros. With a bunch of the guys on the Fantasia server. So that's been kind of goofy. Alright, so now I'm just gonna... I have a warp there, so if anybody on the server wants to come and borrow this, I just ask that you don't grief the place, because you will be found if you have griefed it. Mods have a special way of figuring that out. So I'm just gonna warp there real quick. It's /WJAX, so Jax Skelly, Skele. So that's how you get to the mob grinder right here. And I'm just gonna... No, please, please, please. Okay. Alright, so this is the main control room right here. It's kind of cramped, but I keep it kind of small right here. So this whole thing is incredibly awesome. I have the skeleton spawner in front of there. I have a slab on top to keep guys from spawning up there, which just makes everything a whole lot easier. I'm actually going to go back real quick and grab my Silk Touch pick so I can go and show you the ins and outs from a view of the inside of the mob farm. So I'm going to go back real quick, and I am slow as heck today. Yeah, so this whole thing is like completely controllable except for some water streams down there, which is something that I really wanted to do because I'm just that kind of guy. So you can control all the water sources, so you can toggle all the water that leads into that. I can control these extra little water channels that funnel them into the center little thing. I just use those to reduce the space a little bit. I just like to turn them off so I can showcase them like I'm doing right now. So here we go. As you can see, this whole entire thing is encapsulated by black stained glass, which looks incredibly awesome with all this dark oak wood that I've harvested. I have all of these redstone lantern panels that are used to give light to the entire place. These all are able to light up the entire thing without having to worry about any mobs spawning when you don't want them to. all my redstone is flush and is contained right here. I use these block update detectors in order so I can use these levers because I think they look honestly a lot cooler than buttons. And then you got to deal with T flip flops, and then it's just kind of boring. Well, you still kind of have to deal with that a little bit here. But yeah, I've kind of got all this crazy redstone wiring going on down here. Most of this stuff is just powering all the lights because redstone lanterns are really kind of weird. They don't like to be powered. Like for example, you can put a redstone torch under one and it won't power it. So it just gets kind of weird. So yeah, as I was saying, this whole thing is completely able to be controlled. I can toggle the lights on and on. I use these this dark gray stained glass here because if you use the normal black glass here, it kind of looks strange. So that's just another thing to consider. My lighting is also a little weird. I have this torch 2 blocks above, and the reason is so that like I don't block all of the light out of here, so it increases the spawn rate a little bit here. So that's kind of the gist of what I've going on here. So I'm just gonna turn on the water control again, and then there's 2 kill mods that I have here. I have your basic mob suffocator crusher, and then I also have this waterfall thing. And so I don't have these water streams controlled yet. I'm gonna do that eventually. So what I've got here is I've got a mechanism that every time you flip the switch, it pushes out a block here, so mobs can't go through here. And then it toggles the water stream, so it flows the opposite way. So right now it's on the crusher, so it would float me over here, and then it would float me down over to the crusher. It could honestly be a little more compact, but I honestly like the way it is. Now this over here, I don't have it toggled right now because I honestly have way too much loot from this thing. But this right here is my waterfall right here. So this was actually inspired by Ethos 4-way mob evader from like really long time ago alpha, which surprisingly still works, which amazes me quite honestly. So I'll probably put a link to that video in the description. It still works normally. I don't really necessarily need these other water streams over here, but they're kind of just there for the sake of like just making sure it actually works. You never know. So basically what happens here is the mobs get sucked into this water stream over here. I just kind of have some weird wood stuff over here. I actually kind of discovered a weird little bug that I might make a little video on that has to do with like stairs and jumping in water. It's really kind of strange. So I'll probably post a video for that eventually. But basically what this does is it redirects the skeletons into the center of this water stream. It seems kind of weird for me because I'm not getting directed into the middle, but don't worry, it's because the skeletons jump that this works, and they always try to float on water. So they basically get sucked into this big tower of water, and then they can't go anywhere because they keep floating. So they just drown, and all of their drops fall into these hoppers right here. And then if I just go back, and then, yeah, here we go. You can see that there's this little rail line right here. So I can hit this item cart request, and it's actually pretty fast because I have like a bunch of powered rails. You can hear it coming, and then it'll carry all the. Why do I have arrows in here? Okay, I'll just toss those for now. So yeah, I just have a little place where all of the drops over there can be sucked into this chest, and then I can just send it back for more drops. So that's kind of this. And then the other thing I have here is my crusher over here, which I probably want to edit so the delay's a little bit longer, because right now it takes, for the standard skeleton, it takes 2 hits with an iron sword to kill, assuming it's been crushed all the way, which is kind of unfortunate. So I probably just need to add a couple comparators. So basically what I've got here is I've got a signal decay going on right here. This could also be the topic of a future video, which I think that could deserve its own video, but maybe. I'll have to think about it. So basically, I'll hit the mob softener right here. And so what it's doing is it'll power this circuit. And if you know redstone, you know that redstone comparators check the strength of a pulse. And so what's going on here is once the button stops being pressed, the signal goes away, but over time, the strength of the signal decays. So what that lets you do is it lets you output a signal for an extended period of time. And so that's what all these comparators are doing here. They're just holding out the same signal for a very long time. I honestly think it's a little bit easier than a hopper clock, because that would be kind of hard to activate. just toggling it on and off, to be totally honest. So, and then I actually have 3 pistons over here because I find if I only have one that some of the skeletons get pushed out. They're probably, oh, I might not have enough redstone here. Maybe that explains some of the troubles I've been having with this thing. Oh, I just herped a derp. Okay, oh, I think I can actually get back. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so these 3 pistons come and they crush all of these little skelly butts over here. So that takes care of all the skeletons. And so yeah, that's kind of my mob softener over here. So that's kind of the main thing I've been working on. I've been getting a crap load of experience out of this thing. It's been kind of great. And mob drops too, because down here I have like this sort of killing spot where you can just stand here and swing away and get all your kills, and then all the items flow into the hopper and you never lose a thing. Yeah, so that's this. This is some. Well, I didn't really get this netherite, but this is all the loot that I've gotten using this, which is pretty incredible. I have spent several hours of my life working on this thing. I've got a bunch of power bows, so if anybody wants to take some of this stuff, I really don't care. I have too much of it in the first place. And then this cactus is here in case you want to get rid of any stuff you don't want. Like, I don't really want this gold armor in here. It's just waste of a inventory slot. So I'm just going to chuck it in there and it's going to kill it. It's similar to my death hole in my similar to the death hole in my base. So yeah, that's kind of all I've got to show base-wise. Eventually in a future off-camera session, I'm probably going to link up this whole system. So you'll have that to look forward to, I guess. So now I'm going to start working on the main part of this episode, which is working on my factory. So I'll see you guys in just a bit. Hey guys, here we are back again. We're in the pumpkin pie room, or where the pumpkin pie farms are going to be inside of our pumpkin pie factory. Did I just say pumpkin pie farm? I'm not even sure. But this is our pumpkin farm room. So we're going to have like these 4 towers that are going up into the air that are going to hold all of our pumpkin producing machines. They're all going to be 10 by 10 and they're going to be stacked on top of each other. My plans for this at the moment are to have little mechanisms at the bottom that barrel all the items stored in here into a central canal, which takes it up into a glass pillar, which sends it up into whatever chest I'm going to be storing everything in. So, sorry if my voice sounds a little hoarse. I'm not feeling the best. This actually took 2 freaking weeks to get everything, and part of that's just because it's, you know, a couple weeks before finals, and you've got all this crazy stuff going on, but at the same time, it's just been taking forever. Plus, I had to spend a lot of rupees in order to get everything. That's server currency for those who don't know. But even still, this took 4 freaking ever to finish. I left the ceiling unpaved, I guess you could say, for now, because I'm not sure how much more space I'm going to need to finish off the top layer. Oh, there's a creeper up there. Let me shoot him down real quick. Nope, he ran away. Okay, so yeah, this took me forever. I kind of went with these little strips of glowstone right here. It kind of looks a bit like a radiator, which I think is really cool, and I have some cool ideas for the platforms that are going to go in between these different chambers. I have a really cool idea for that, so yeah, I look forward to that. So the first thing I want to do to start out is to make the bottom most layer, which is going to be different from all the rest. It's basically going to be a dispenser that fires off any pumpkins that enter into the canal as soon as they get put inside. So yeah, the reason we have to do that first is because I'm not exactly sure how much space I'm going to need for this particular part, and then from there we can just stack all of the different layers on top of that. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing, and then I'm going to finish the layers, and then, sorry, I'm just running around all over the place, and then we're going to finish all the layers, and then that's when we're going to start connecting all the canals together into our little output chest, somewhere up in that hallway. And there goes my voice again. Sorry, this commentary probably won't sound the prettiest, because my voice is not terrible, but it's not great either, so I'll just leave it at that. So yeah, once I stop tripping over my feet and over my own speech, I'm just gonna move over to my testing world so I can show you guys what I'm going to be going for with these towers. Alright guys, here we are in my 1.7 testing world, and this is the automatic pumpkin farm design that I sort of semi came up with. I'll explain what I mean by that in just a moment. But so the basic idea behind this farm is that I've got all of these redstone pulses that are going into the spot where all the pumpkins are going to be, and once the pumpkin grows, it's gonna, oh, that shouldn't be in there, but it's gonna put an item into the hopper, and then the computer reads that the item is in the hopper, so it basically activates the piston and pushes it in. Now, I originally found this concept in another video, which I can't remember whose channel created it, but I'll put a link to it in the description. But he came up with this concept previously, and I think he did only he did a one wide one of these, but he did like a 3x3 of these kind of platforms or something like that. It's kind of weird, but I kind of made it a 2x2, and you can actually have up to 2 of these next to each other, which I found pretty awesome, which I kind of tested with. So that's kind of the part I added. The other thing I added is this little mechanism right here that I'm using to transport all of the items from upper layers down into the bottommost layer, which will then spit it out into the canal. And it's this little system I have right here. So what happens is the items get drawn into the dropper right here. Then the comparator reads that there's an item inside, and then it outputs a pulse into here. And I might actually be able to get rid of this right here. Then what happens is we put a redstone repeater right here, so that way it gives us a full length pulse. And then it pushes the pulse not only into this to activate it, but then it sends a pulse into the comparator. And so if I turn that on, what'll happen is it'll create a redstone clock that'll continuously pump out the items inside as long as there are items inside the hopper. So I'm just gonna put this magenta wool in here real quick, and you see it's just continually spitting out items. And it's a little slower because I have a repeater here, but honestly, I'm totally fine with this because if I tried this any other way, I would have these droppers going off, and I wouldn't want that. That would just make things unnecessarily loud. So yeah, you can see that that's dumping it out quite nicely. Oh, I just ruined it. There we go. And as you can see, it's dropping into there, and it'll be sucked up by these repeaters. And I have a different system down here, but I'm actually not going to use it, and I'm going to use this system as it is a lot slimmer, and I think I might just be able to get like another layer in. You never know. But anyway, so that's what I've kind of got going on right here, and then I just have everything going into here. This is just the output chest, because also this is a lot slower than I've noticed. I'm kind of using I'm using a hopper clock right here in order to make everything work out. So yeah, so that's basically how that works. Now this one layer alone isn't really that large, but with multiple layers on top, this thing's gonna be massive. Plus I've got 4 towers going on this, so that'll be really interesting. I'm not sure I necessarily want to do a tutorial on this, because I'm not sure it's necessarily my design. It's kind of a debatable thing. And there are probably people who could do tutorials on this way better than I could. I mean, I do okay with those, but sometimes I screw up because I'm a bit of a derp. So yeah, that's kind of what I've got going on right here. So now I'm going to get back on the server and build one of these little bottom layer things to get started. Alright guys, here we are back inside the pumpkin farm room. I've already got my lower level ejection system, I guess you'll call it. That sounds really kind of gnarly. Okay, but I've already got my system set up, so I've already as you can, these are kind of my base 2x2 hopper plate here, and all those redstone torches that you saw are going to go on top of here. So this is like the middle of the 10x10 square that we've got going here. So this is the dispenser that will launch out all the pumpkins that we collect from this farm, and it'll send them this way in towards the canal. And I've got all 4 set up, not quite on the other 3, but I've got the 2x2 up here. I just ran out of hoppers. I'll go get some more later. But I just want to show this off real quick, just so you guys can see that it works. So I put them all in here. It's a little laggy because, well, it's... Oh, am I even recording? Yeah, I am recording. I was a little worried for a sec. But yeah, it is a little laggy, but, you know, it won't be that bad because usually it won't be that large amount of items. At least I don't think it will be, because even with 4 towers, it doesn't seem like it'll be that much, but I really don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I've got that going for me right now. So I've got all of the 4 set up, and I'm just gonna get a layer sit down for each of them. That's my goal for this next part, and I'll come back to you when I've got that all done. See you in a bit. Alright guys, here we are back inside the pumpkin chamber. We've got 1 layer each for each of our 4 quad towers for this giant pumpkin farm I'm working on. Now, for the moment, I've left out the seeds for the pumpkins, because it'll be a lot easier once I've got all of the layers in. I just kind of didn't want to add them at the moment because I don't have the water channel in at the moment, so I thought it would just be easier that way. So yeah, I was doing a little math off camera. No, I wasn't doing math off camera. I was doing a little some calculations off camera, and from what I calculated, we have 23 blocks tall. So that's the height of the chamber. So from this block right here to the top, that's 23 blocks. Now, that's not including the little stuff at the bottom. Now, I actually kind of want to point something out real quick. I'm just going off on random tangents here. But I actually had to shorten some of the wiring down 1 block, which is actually possible. For that first layer, because it was I literally couldn't place any of my hoppers down on it, so I had to adjust that. But I didn't do that for this layer on top, because otherwise I would be activating these droppers, and that would suck, because it would just be pulsing this thing over and over, and we wouldn't want that. That would just be kind of useless. Plus, it's also kind of laggy. So I kind of lift that raised just so it would be easier, and it doesn't really affect the height, because we've already got this hopper here. So yeah, that's that. So as I was saying, this entire chamber up here, from this block right here to the top, that is 23 blocks tall. Now, here's the thing. Each one of these layers, and we're counting from this base block right here, so this kind of area from here to this hopper right here, that is 5 blocks. So automatically, because we have more than 20 blocks space, we can automatically fit 10 layers of space. I mean, jeez, I totally butchered that. We can fit 4 layers of space. Okay, so we can fit 4 layers on each tower. So that's all fine and dandy. But here's the thing. On the top layer, we don't need this dispenser system right here. So A, that saves on resources, and B, that cuts down 2 blocks. It cuts down this hopper, and then it cuts down this block right here that the redstone rests upon. So it cuts those 2 blocks. And so this leaves a 3 block, or 1, 2, 3. So that leaves 1 3 block layer. So literally, we have just enough room, ceiling wise, in order to fit 5 layers. Now, excuse me while I eat some carrots real quick. I've kind of been neglecting to cook my potatoes lately. More useless tangents. So, what was I going to say? Shoot, I totally forgot what I was going to say. Let me try and remember real quick. Oh, that's right. So I did some calculations. So, each one of these singular layers right here, so that's not including any of the layers on the other towers. Each one of these has room for 8 stems. So that's basically 8 pumpkins worth of space on each of these. And so there's 4 layers, or excuse me, if there's 5 layers per tower, then that means between the 4 towers that we have going here, we are going to have 160 pumpkin stems, which is going to be absolutely insane. Like, just by eyeballing this, I thought we were going to have, like, 3 layers in here. It just did not look that big. And maybe that's because I put this 2x2 of hoppers right here is the next layer that I just kind of decided to put there because I was getting a little bored and antsy, and you know me. But so yeah, I was really surprised that this thing is going to be as efficient as it is. So in the next segment, I'm probably going to be finishing these towers. It's probably going to take me a while, so that's something to keep in mind. But, you know, you guys won't really care because I'll be chopping up this thing like a lobotomist. A lobotomist. So, based on that, I'm going to get back to work and I'll show you guys what I've got in a little bit. Alright guys, here we are inside of our completed pumpkin farm, and as you can see, I've got everything sorted out. Well, you can't really see the water canal-ish thing quite yet, but I've got all of the towers finished, I've got all of the pumpkin seeds put in, and I've also got these water streams here so I can perform maintenance on any of the layers I need to. So if like there's like a dropper here that doesn't have an item, I can go fix that. So that's kind of what these water streams are here for. I actually had to lift up the floor a bit for just the sake of being able to fit all the mechanisms that carry the items to the glass item elevator. So that was kind of something I had to do. You don't really notice it that much, but I certainly did. So yeah, so that's kind of what this is kind of what I'm got going right now. It looks really cool. It's kind of got this, I don't know, industrial look to it, and I really kind of like what I've got going with that. So yeah, I'm gonna do, this is the way up. I have this water stream up here, which I'm gonna face backwards, and you guys can take a nice long look at all the towers, nice and completed. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. And then, as you can see up here, there's a little trap door up here, so I just float up here, and then I wait till I can get caught inside the trap door, and then I just swim up against the wall, and it pushes me up. So that's kind of how that works. So here's the item elevator up here. Oh, there's a creeper down there. I'll have to dispose of him. So yeah, all of the items. I used a hopper chain as opposed to water canals because I could not fit water canals with the way the bedrock was situated. So I just decided to use hoppers because it was easier and I had the resources. So yeah, this is kind of what we've got going from the farm so far. I've had it for less than 2 hours running, just from me being in the area with the chunks loaded. So that's absolutely incredible, and I can't wait to actually get down to using this farm. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. So yeah, that's kind of all I've got to show right here. I've got all these water streams and everything. I think I've talked about all that I want to talk about. Thank you guys all for watching this episode. I know my episodes kind of tend to be a little bit on the long side, but I like to make sure that each of my episodes are very high quality in terms of what I do, and I want to make sure that I please everybody with all the crazy stuff that I'm able to build in this awesome game. So thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Take care.